We all remember in episode 80 when Chicago told us that no other city in the world has tunnels. What an incredible slip up. The further that we go into this research, the more ammunition that we have to attack this ridiculous narrative all over the world. When we are told that this site in Turkey is the largest excavated underground city in Turkey alone, and is one of several underground complexes found throughout Cappadocia, which is a region in Turkey. The underground city in Turkey could accommodate up to 20,000 people and had amenities found in other underground complexes, such as wine and oil presses, stables, cellars, storage rooms, where the mainstream historians were there. And they remember that the rooms on the left were used for studies. And this information about the rooms on the left have just been passed down from generation to generation. This is a bunch of nonsense. They don't know what activity was going on in these rooms. And we know this now. This is a guess, 100%. They don't have any idea what was going on in these rooms. And that's the reality of the situation. So let's not pretend that someone born in 1980 is going to know exactly what happened in rooms underground. You can't just walk into an abandoned building and know all about their basement. Somebody would have to tell you what each room was used for. So this story about them knowing that rooms on the left are used for studies, this story is nonsense. It's extremely important for all of us to be able to read a narrative and see through the children's stories. They are a trick, and they keep people in that trance where people would just accept it for years and never think twice. We are exposing ridiculous statements over and over, showing exactly how to detect them within a narrative so that you can go find them yourself. And this is not just in history. This kind of thing happens all the time, even to this day. It is very important to be able to critically think, to ask questions. Starting between the third and the fourth levels are a series of vertical staircases. Multiple levels under the city is exactly what we are reading, where we can now fully see that we were correct all along. We fully understand after the first 84 episodes that these cities are not just on the ground. Multiple levels under our feet all over the world, which we have shown. It's incredible. The old world creating all of this, where they had technology that would blow our minds today. And then possibly the most bone-chilling moment in all of our research so far, showing that this was a civilization that was in hiding. Hiding from what? What was the old world, the previous civilization? What were they hiding from? Where there is a large 180-foot ventilation shaft. The shaft provided water to both the villagers above, and if the outside world was not accessible, the water would be provided to those in hiding. Those in hiding. Can you believe this? Where the city accommodated up to 20,000 people underground. Multiple levels. What happened here where we all live today? Clearly the history that we have all been told is missing something massive. A mass destruction event that I believe was without a doubt within the last few hundred years. And we are all now back on the ground level. We are now the finders, or the founders, of all of the previous civilizations' work. And let's just open the doors on this thing. Let's blow people's minds today and go deeper than ever before. Here we go. According to BBC, this is not a 4 to 5 level system. This is a site that encompasses 18 levels of tunnels. 18 levels of underground tunnels underneath the city. The largest excavated underground city in the world that we know of, where we know that this is most likely under every single major city in the world, where cave-like rooms stretch on for hundreds of miles. where it's thought that there are more than 200 small, separate underground cities that have also been discovered in this region, may be connected to these tunnels, creating a massive subterranean network. 200 separate underground cities, all connected underground, 18 levels deep. I have to be honest, this is blowing my mind at this point. Remember, this is what we are all being told. Can you imagine what we are not being told about? Are these things actually deeper than 18 levels? What kind of rooms are really down there? How far do they really reach? Because obviously they have found things that we are not allowed to know about or see within these tunnel systems. Just like in Paris, where the catacombs underground go for thousands of miles, and only part of the ossuary is open to the public. Where in France, there is a much more extensive subterranean network of tunnels under other parts of Paris, which is of course off limits to visitors. We have shown that in Chicago, the thousands of miles of tunnels there have also been closed off from the public. Closing these tunnels off from the public today shows me that there is something still in these tunnels, or a purpose for these tunnel systems that's still going on today. There is a motive to block these off from the public. Why are they all working together, blocking these tunnel systems off from the public all over the world today? Is it to hide the past, or is it to hide what is still in there? 200 separate underground cities, all connecting to create a massive subterranean network, where we are told that nobody even knew about what was below their feet until 1963 came around. So 1962, nobody knew that 18 levels and 200 cities were all connected right under our feet. This is only 61 years ago. 62 years ago, this place was hiding below our feet, undiscovered. Yet they can tell us all about it today, saying they know all about the room on the left and know all about the negative 2800s, where we all know at this point that their narrative is not factual information. Rediscovering this site in 1963 by an anonymous local who kept losing his chickens while he was renovating his home. Tommy the Chicken found a massive tunnel system 18 levels deep, where the poultry would disappear into a small crevice created during the remodel, never to be seen again, where I definitely need to get some tunnel hunting chickens. Upon closer investigation and some digging, the Turk unearthed a deep passageway. It was the first of more than 600 entrances found within private homes, leading to the subterrestrial city. In this research, I always wonder, will anything ever blow my mind more than what I've just seen? And time again, it just gets more and more incredible. 600 entrances, 18 levels of tunnel systems, 200 cities connecting through a network, all under our feet, all found by a random guy and his chickens. The previous civilization was extremely advanced, fully understanding construction, creating palaces on the ground level, palaces that are still here today, as well as massive underground tunnel systems all over the world. This technology was known all over the world. They were not riding around on donkeys with hammers in their left hand and their chisels in their right. This thought process that humans are finally to the point of getting a telephone or internet, Wi-Fi, planes, trains, cars, all of this, thinking that this is all brand new. This narrative is no longer factual information. Clearly, there have been people here before that had much more technology than we do today, where according to the mainstream professors, they say that creating 18-level tunnel systems, 200 cities all connecting, would have been fairly easy to do with simple tools like shovels and pickaxes. This is easy, according to the mainstream narrative. Thousands of miles of tunnels all done very easily. This could have been done with a shovel, according to the brilliant man of Florida State University. According to this guy, 2,800 years ago, they could have done this in their sleep. A spoon or a shovel would have made no difference. The cavemen of the past just had tunnel construction down. They were born with this skill. So who should they credit these tunnels to? Well, the credit of creating them remains a partial mystery. They don't know who created them, and go on to suggest that the Hittites made them, where they may have excavated them while under attack around 1200 BCE. So the mainstream says 2,800 years ago, and now saying 3,200 years ago, where they can just make up any date they'd like yet again, and we all believed it, and saying that it was easy. We know that these tunnel systems all over the world were not created easily. 18 levels underground is not created easily with a little shovel. And these networks are never open to the public, which shows me that they may also connect to each other all over the world.
Come on. Thank you. Thank you. We will make you happy now. Can you do that? Okay, just imagine she's doing grape juice. The hole here, the juice was coming through here to this pool, and they were making wine. Make sense? And this is the tap, which is made of basalt, volcanic lava. How about the wall here? Volcanic tooth, volcanic ash. Until here, we can say 2000 BC. You have to know this. First 2 and 3 levels had always been used to with the people. But one day, during the Ottoman time, after the turn, the tunnels cancelled. People never and ever needed to use any more. But the first 3 had always been used to as a stable for animals, as a food store, as a winery. Why? Look at still, although that much people, the temperature is still same. And this was the perfect temperature to maintain the vegetables and fruits underground and to make wine. Okay? But after 400 years passed, they forgot what was behind the wall. Accidentally, one day happened a mistake, and the people who were using stables as for animals' house, they discovered again the deepest flows, and they informed archaeologists. And after 1960s, underground city of Derry rediscovered. And they also learned it was 4.5 square kilometers. Incredible.
It's this tall, yeah?
Yeah.
It's Russian.
Yeah, well, you can understand Russian.
Yeah.
So it means there was another stone door over there, and enemies which here, for example, and they would see only animals. So they also, in ancient time, people also used to use animals as emergency warning system. Animals could give reaction, for example. Animals maybe could conceal the main entrance of underground city. Or, what I said to you before, first level, second level had always been used to be all the time, even till 1964 or 1960s, because there was a social life outside, but still people kept to use this underground because of how nice place to feed the animals. Good condition, and the food stores are wonderful. Why they would waste of these things, yeah? So, but after that all, one day, not only one stable here, in this town there are many. So imagine the one wall itself fell down, and the owner of the stable realized how was big his stable. That's why he afraid a lot and called the museum, or archaeologists came after, and they had to excavate, and they had to rediscover the city was how much big it was. 4.5, it's really big. And how they built, how they carried all this soil outside, nobody knows. Do you know?
So behind the stone door there was some dirt and
yes, yes. It means probably enemies tried to open the door, but
so
they couldn't, and they said, okay, if you don't open the door, we will bury you here. So they carried outside here more soil. to bury them. But they didn't know the tunnels how much was long. Archaeologists found sometimes 10 kilometers length tunnels in between the underground cities. How many underground cities there are in Cappadocia, I said? More than 200.
In the triangle of Kayseri, Niğde and Nevşehir, there are more than 200 underground cities with at least 2 floors. Some of these cities are connected with each other with tunnels that continue for miles. One shouldn't forget that these cities used only for protection. People didn't live in these cities for years. They stayed in them for only some period of time to protect their religion. Whole world keeps an eye on here since this is the deepest underground city. Archaeologists all around the world come here for research. After AD 30, when Jesus Christ had already claimed his prophecy, the first Christians couldn't easily find a safe place for themselves. They were at risk. In the 2nd century, these Christians came to Antakya, Kayseri, then here. Of course, they knew how to hide from the invaders by going underground. These tough stones you're seeing are volcanic formations. Now these are very hard because when they meet with air, they get hardened. However, if you dig this layer, you would see that the 2nd or 3rd or deep layers are very soft. And by drilling through these stones, they built an underground city here. It is said that this underground city could take up to 20,000 people inside. And here is the kitchen area. This bit you're seeing is the tandoori, a traditional Anatolian floor furnace. They used to stick their breads and cook their meat stew pans here. Of course, there's a chimney supposed to take the smoke out. That's the chimney. You see the top, there are smoke stains. People used to cook their meals in the night to stay unnoticed. Obviously, smoke wasn't visible in the night. Every family didn't have their own kitchen. They all used this one together as a common area. In these holes you're seeing, they used to keep their food like barley or wheat. There's a sliding door here. It was fixed during the restorations. If the enemy came here, this tunnel goes to the 4th floor. This sliding door will be slided to prevent the enemy from going to downstairs. It's a 660 pound or 300 kilogram door, and it has a hole here. There's a huge door here. This hole you're seeing is for looking who is behind the door after the door is closed. Or it was used for shooting arrows or throwing spears. Here we came. There's a communication hole here. Between the floors there are communication holes with a diameter of 10 inches or 25 centimeters. As I can understand, this one goes to the 2nd floor. When you say something, people on the upper floor can hear you. Now we are on the 7th floor. There's a church here. As you can see, there are crosses here. Also, this space is designed as a cross form. There is the long arm of the cross and there is the short arm. They didn't only pray here, they also had secret meetings down here. Imagine those people, they're afraid of going outside. They pray here under candlelights. Christians stayed here for days without seeing the daylight. They were so intimate with each other because they spent days down here without seeing anyone else. There is also a grave room on this floor. This tunnel you're seeing goes to the graveyard. Here is maybe the most crucial part of this place. Centuries before, there were corpses down here. Think of the corpses going through here. Imagine that you're here at that time. Maybe you lost one of your family members and you are carrying his or her body here. A quite narrow tunnel. There were dying people naturally. They buried them here. To make corpses decompose easily and stop the corpses from smelling, they dissolved them by chemicals. Obviously, they couldn't burn the corpses because there is no space for the smoke to go. This looks like it is going to somewhere, but it goes to nowhere. A closed area, possibly chemicals and tools for decomposing bodies were kept here. There are small rooms there. A family used to live here. Imagine them. They fear from the enemy outside. Again, it belongs to a family. We are at the barn area right now. Animals used to be here. These are small holes where animals were tied to. They used to tie their animals here. These are the areas where animals used to eat or drink water. And also troughs are here. The reason why were the animals kept on the 1st floor is probably it was hard to take them to the lower floors. You saw the tunnels, it was impossible for them to pass. It will be easy for their smell to get out from the top floor. Here are places where people used to produce wine. They put the grapes here. As you can see, there are draining holes. Grapes were flowing through this draining hole and accumulating here. Big wine bottles were placed here. There are holes there too. People smash grapes here. There is another place for accumulating the grape juice. That's how the wine was made. Now we are going to the missionary school. It will be our last stop. In fact, it is one of the most important parts of this structure. Welcome to the missionary school. There is a baptistry here. According to Christian belief, babies are born sinful. They bat the baby in the baptist pool, clean them, and the babies become Christians only after that. People who were converted to Christianity later were also bathed here. Here's a really interesting place. You see the vault structure in the ceiling. With these arches side by side, they form a vault. For that time, an architecture like this is a great success. Students are placed here. Maybe there was a table here and they continued their studies on that table. There, Reverend Rand of that time was preaching by climbing the stairs. Here, they used to give lectures. People who were educated in this missionary school were trying to spread the Christianity in the outer world. There are studying rooms. Students probably were taking their classes here. Places you see are the places that only we can enter via special permit. Only 10% of it can be toured. In some of the other parts, researches continue and the entrance is not allowed. Even today, an ordinary subway construction takes 45 years. 1,800 years ago, when there were no modern tools and machines and there was no electricity, how was this place built? Thousands of workers are needed just for the digging. Total weight of the sand and stones taken from underground is estimated to be more than 5 million tons.